Hey guys, welcome to Dating Intelligence, the podcast, where we give relationship advice from dating to marriage and everything else in between. And always with the goal of helping you to continuously be the best you at all times.
So if you're looking for real life and honest information to help you navigate your relationships, we've got you covered.
I love how you say that. Can you say got you covered again?
Got you covered.
That's hot. Hey babe, how are you?
I am hot. Look at this little pompadour thing. Don't judge me.
I love the pompadour. All right, guys, so we're Christopher Lewis.
And I'm Jamie Villamore.
And we got another great guest today.
I know, I'm so excited.
Still
about
located
this
in
one.
Vegas. Am I ever going to get the fuck out of here?
No. We got to get you out here at least like 2 times a month.
I'm kind of liking this right now. It's like I feel like
know.
I'm on location all the time now, coming back to Vegas. So
That's because you're so fancy.
thank you very much, my dear. Thank you. I love when I talk in different voices. All right, so Jamie, we got a great guest co-host today that is all too familiar to you. I can say that.
I know. Stop looking at me. He's making me so nervous. God, it's those eyes.
I mean, I just personally met the guy this weekend while in Vegas, and I have to say, he's all right.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, this dude...
I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
This dude is a guy's guy, and he's pretty damn cool. He's a professional shooter and firearms instructor. I mean, if you want to learn how to use firearms the correct way and safe way, this is your guy. Shit, I know he's got my back, and I know you do after this weekend. I know you got my back.
Oh, we definitely know that.
So, without any further ado, please welcome Joe Farrell to the show.
Thank you, guys.
Ooh.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Jamie, stop blushing and flirting.
I can't help it. It makes me a little nervous.
I'm not allowed to make eye contact with her. She told me that beforehand. She's like, just don't even look at me. So I'm going to make constant eye contact with you,
Okay.
Chris,
All right.
the whole
Then
time.
it's going to be really fucking awkward. You have beautiful eyes, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
So do you.
See, I feel like I'm on the third wheel already. This is great. I'm going to create a third
I
wheel
have to
podcast.
move my hair. Like, do you notice my shirt? The shirt that I'm wearing?
Yeah, the Def Leppard shirt.
All right, tell us about it. I know there's some history here, right, with the shirt?
Well, Def Leppard was the shirt that she was wearing when I first met her. And
Nice.
that was at WAFT. We were shooting together. So.
Yeah.
You were shooting in that shirt?
Not this particular
it.
one,
Okay.
but
One very similar to
I mean,
But
could
it
you
was
be
like-
a little more flirtatious out there?
Well, no, I was out there training. I was trying to be serious, and then he told me to explore, and then my mind just went to like a bad place. So
I was being very professional the entire time. I would just like to throw that out there. I was
Yeah.
focused on shooting
Right.
most of
was,
the
he
time. I
was.
mean, yeah, we were...
Like I said in your intro, you like if you want to learn how to do it the correct and safe way, right, Joe?
Absolutely.
All right, so we're all on the same page then. All right, so Joe, today our episode that you're in, and thank you for being so much. We're glad to have you, Joe. I have to say, this is actually, let me see. This is the first time that I have a couple on the show. Can I say that? In theory?
Is it the first time you've had a couple?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that allowed?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Got kind of quiet here. Sorry.
You're good.
You can put this one on tape. Watch this back there. All right.
And clip.
Okay, now, all right, I'm going to say this very, very,
Cut.
very confident now. Like, this is the first time I've had a couple on the show, and I'm glad that this is taking place. But I got the perfect topic for this today, and it's called the pursuit of the chase. In a relationship where, every relationship starts with the chase. Let's just put it that way, right? I mean, in order for, guy meets girl, guy chases girl plays hard to get, all that BS and da-da-da. Guy hopefully gets girl and guy run off in the sunset happily together with sprinkles and unicorns, all that bullshit,
Yeah,
right?
sprinkles.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not really the real truth, but we'll get to the nitty gritty of it. So, Joe, that's the topic, and we're gonna run through this at guys first. And I want your girl input on this. Obviously, a lot on this one as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you guys. Like you said, you were keeping it professional at the beginning, and what is your take on chase? Like, what is your thing? How do you, if you see something, how do you go for that prize and and try to woo the girl, win the girl?
So, I mean, for me, competition and the pursuit of something is a huge part of my life. Like, if you don't have something that you're pursuing, you become lost. And that's not just like relationally, but I think across the board, you have to have a goal. You have to have something you're working towards. Otherwise, you become adrift. And adrift is a really shitty place to be. So for me, I've always been very pursuit driven. Always been looking for the next thing that I'm working on. Mm-hmm. And as far as the relationship side of things, this was something I never expected, was not looking for at the time.
That's when it happens the best, though.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Like it is. It's been wild. But
What are you trying to say?
you can't say it like that. Come on now. No, it's just been a it's been a huge learning process for me. So trying to figure out how to balance, because I live in Florida.
Okay.
She lives in Las Vegas. It's a long freaking way away. It's 3 hours time difference. We both have very lucrative travel schedules and just busy lives in general.
Okay.
So it's definitely been a learning process through all of that to try to build a something. I mean, that's the thing is, and this is still very new for us, but it's fun.
All right.
Yeah.
It's taken work. It's taken a lot.
I like to say we're hanging out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
We're
great.
hanging out.
Yeah, hanging
We're
out
just
is
like-
exactly as
And
what
when
it
we
is.
first started, like hanging out, it was cool because I was like, look, no expectations. I'm going to do me, you do you, and I'll see you when I see you.
That's pretty much what it was. It was no expectations, no pressure, and then I kind of decided I liked her a little bit, and
now it's on, isn't it? It's on.
It's ever evolving. It's evolving every day.
Yeah.
But one thing that I noticed, especially early on, was because of how busy both of us are, in order to carve out time to be together or to hang out, I had to be very intentional about it because if not, then it's easy for me to get sucked into a competition or a training event or anything like that. It's easy for her to get sucked into work as well. And so there have been several situations where it's like, well, no, I could go do this, but I'm actually going to take a detour to make sure that we have the time together.
That's great.
And it's,
Yeah, sometimes it's just a night. Like it's literally like show up.
Right.
It's like midnight. He stays the night, and then he's like out before I'm even up.
But that's okay.
But it's like
but that's only
it's-
happened like once.
Yeah, but it's to me, I feel like it's the small efforts
Yeah.
go like a long way.
Well, I
Yeah,
remember at one point, we had been, I think it was maybe December or January, something like that. There was a chunk of time that we hadn't seen each other in a while because things were busy, and she's like, I don't want to not see you for more than 2 weeks at a time. I'm like, I agree. Like that sucks. So for me, I literally like looked at my schedule and I said, I need to make sure that I clear room in my own schedule
Right.
to make that happen, because and that was a kind of a turning point. It's like, well, is that something I'm willing to do? And are there events and things that I'm willing to give up to make sure that I can make that time happen? So I guess that's where the pursuit side of things would come into play.
Right. But that also proves to her, like you said, it's the little things like that. Like you put it out there with the 2-week schedule and you checked your schedule, and quite frankly, it's like if it's either going to work or not work. And like you said, you're either going to make that choice, like you told yourself in your head going, am I going to do this? And you're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then the prioritizing and the chase, the pursuit of the chase, that's a huge thing, because I feel like a lot of people, we can all talk lip service, you can all this, but I know a lot of women always go, it's the proof in the pudding. That's one thing they would say, like, yeah, prove it to me. Prove it to me. I don't ever think as guys we say, prove it to me. Do we? Have you ever said that to a
I think it goes both ways, because I think that on the same token, she's been able to clear her schedule and come out to some of my events and be supportive. Even as recently as last month, where my sister was in a skydiving accident, and it happened the day that she flew down for a job in Mexico.
Yeah, I was in Mexico.
Yeah, so she was in Cancun.
I had
right?
I was in Cabo.
Oh, Cabo,
so I had
yeah.
literally just landed in Cabo, and I get a text, and he's like, my sister was in a skydiving accident.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Or actually, I didn't even know what kind of accident. I just assumed because she's a badass, and I know she jumps out of planes. She's a professional skydiver. And so when he said accident, I felt like I kind of knew. So I was like, and he's like, she's their fight for life.
And you rearranged your schedule.
Oh, I was back in there on a flight.
next
But
day.
then they said, you can't leave because you need COVID negative.
Oh,
so I was
geez.
like, shit. So I had to leave the airport, but then I was like on a flight the next day.
Okay. Wow.
So it
She
goes
likes
both
you.
ways. Yeah,
That's liking someone right
both
there.
ways. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and vice versa.
And he's like, don't come. I said, I'm going to come.
I'm like, to me, that was a huge step in or example of support,
Right.
And so a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's a huge deal. So I'm laughing in my head. He goes, that was a big thing of like, showing that support. I'm like, you mean down to that road, down that path of like unicorns and sprinkles?
I just want to know, are the sprinkles rainbow or chocolate?
Oh, damn. I always envision them like all the colored sprinkles.
Yeah, me too. I'm like envisioning rainbow.
But I love chocolate though.
It's that squirrel again for me. I don't know why, but I just had the visual.
No, you just literally took me down that path, by the way, now too.
Are they rainbows or chocolate? By the way, I do want to plug your sister's GoFundMe. So
please
tell us a little bit about Becca and where we can help and kind of where she's at right now.
Yeah, so Becca is my little sister. She's been a professional skydiver for 11 years now, and she's a certified badass. And it's been really cool because over the past, growing up, she went one way. I kind of stayed in Florida. She's traveled all over the country, and we've always been kind of close, but we don't like talk every week or anything like that. But she's living her life, and I've been living mine. And over the past year, we've kind of reconnected, and it's been really cool because I've been able to hang out with her and be intentional about spending some time with her when I've been on trips. Because she was living in California, and I'm in Florida, so it's literally opposite ends of the country. But when we've gotten together, we've had some really heartfelt connection, which is so cool to kind of like relearn who my sister is, because she's her own person now. Like, we grew up together, but she's an adult.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear about her life and kind of share mine. And so I came out to visit her with my two daughters in Utah, and the day after we got here, and it was a total God thing because I was not supposed to be here. I was supposed to be in Yellowstone.
Okay.
The last minute change of plans because nothing would work out for that trip. I came to Utah to hang out with her, and the next day she got in her accident, and she broke her neck, shattered her C3, C4 vertebrae, and it's been in the ICU for three weeks now. And that has been the hardest thing I've ever dealt with.
I can only imagine. Well, thoughts and prayers out to your sister, man.
Thank you. So we have a GoFundMe that's really dedicated to the long-term care because she's got a long road to recovery. Hopefully we'll find some shortcuts on the way, but she's still doesn't have any movement from the shoulders down, basically. So we're praying and hoping that she'll have a full recovery. That's what we expect. But it's going to take a lot of work. So the GoFundMe, thank you, Jamie, is on my. I'll put it in my Instagram. I believe it's in my bio right now. I know you can look her up. It's Avibex is her Instagram. It's AVIBEX. Okay. And so I'm sure we can find that information there. But that's, if you want to help, that's how you can help there. All
right, guys, you heard that. We're going to support.
I mean, honestly, like every little bit helps. So maybe you pass up on your Starbucks for the day and send $5, $10.
I agree.
But the outpouring support from all over the world has been unreal. I mean, I've got friends from the time that I've spent overseas that have like reached out from Sweden and Poland and like all over Brazil, like people just reaching out all over the place, and seeing the names that are popping up on the GoFundMe just like breaks my heart. Like not breaks my heart, but just showers me with like love. It's incredible. Just the outpouring of support, not just for me, or not just for her, but for me and my whole family. And the random acts of kindness that we've received, it's just incredible to show the community that we're a part of. And I feel like people get so centered on the bullshit of everyday life that we start to ignore all the good that happens around us. Mm-hmm. And I don't like to ignore that. I love to have fun and find joy in everything and appreciate the good things in life. And this is just one of those things that everyone's like, oh, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. I'm like, no, there's good that can come from this.
Right.
And truly, it's a new chapter of life for everybody involved. My parents, myself, my sister, my whole family, and everyone that's impacted by it. But there's good things.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, you seem good. Yeah.
I think
it's been a freaking roller coaster.
Yeah, he's up and down. He's up and down.
But you're stoic though, man, and that's a lot of what people need though too. Behind that, you need someone to be strong, but and at the same time, I know you feel what you're feeling, so I can only imagine. So
when you're back out on the range, are you able to really focus, or is your mind always like drifting off to her, or has the shooting and training been a good thing for you?
So I was off the range for 2 weeks. After the accident, and that was...
And you typically shoot every day.
Just about. I'm usually on the range 4 to 6 days a week.
Wow.
I usually have one day off for travel or something like that. But I'm on the range a lot. So it was a big shift for me to not be on the range at all. And then I had a contract for a law enforcement training that I had to do that pulled me away from her, which was good for me because it got me kind of refocused on the outside life, I guess, And so it felt good to be back on the range. And I did find myself like continuing to think about her. I'd text my sister to see how she's doing, and I'd FaceTime her and see how things are going. But at the same time, like when I'm teaching, when I get into that headspace, it's not hard for me to stay focused there. So it's like my brain bounces all over the place.
Right.
But when I'm on the range teaching, I'm pretty confident in myself as far as keeping myself focused on what needs to be taught, even when I have something as distracting as Jamie.
I was about to say, like, how's his focus on you,
I'm
by
like,
the way?
why are you looking at me?
Because I want to know how his focus is on you. Is he really focused when he's with you?
No, he actually was very, very professional. So I would have never like thought that that this would be.
I meant now, though. I mean,
now.
Oh God!
Now.
See, I'm. If you put him in front of me, I just automatically get nervous, and he knows it too. So he like fucks with me. So he'll just like come and like stare at me, and I'm like, get the fuck away from me! Like, we're gonna be late. I'm just giving you a heads up. Like, come over here and
That's focus.
So
I think that's 100% focus. So.
But
I like this.
What was the question again?
Focus, Jamie. That's the focus. No, I'm glad you're here because like this, like I said, it's a great topic on the pursuit of the chase where I feel like, the distance for you both and making a commitment to see each other and you stepping up and supporting him and vice versa whenever that's what the chase is about.
I mean, I hope the chase never stops, right?
And that's where this is all leading to down the road of this whole episode is the fact that, and we'll get into that, but you're right though. I feel personally that, you should be chasing your partner all the time. And we can start, let's backtrack. Let's start from the beginning. So courtship is amazing. And by the way, Joe, you said it perfectly clear on how, what the chase to you was. And that's a lot of it. It's like the pursuit of a goal, like, you're goal driven, you're this driven. And to us, and for women as well, the pursuit of the chase is a lot of ego, by the way, because we want to see if we can win and wow and woo that person until we're with them. And that's, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Obviously there's some bad and the people do it the wrong way, but I think it's a great thing. And that's how it's the confidence that they want to see it. It's your how you prioritize, where you put them on the pedestal. And that's why it's a funny thing where girls always go, oh, they're playing hard to get. And it's not a bad thing. And I know it's like I feel like it's an old world terminology, don't you? They're playing hard to get, but it's kind of fun actually, and when someone's as busy as you are and you stay on the same path and now you guys matched up, bravo. Yeah. You've done your job.
You. And I think, going back to the whole topic was it's important to have that, because especially right off the bat, you have that immediate attraction, you have that connection, you both want to be together and all that stuff, but it's important to continue that, like you said. But it's also important to have other pursuits that you're either working on together and separately. I think both of those are important. So having similar goals, but having your own goals that you're not just focused, because I feel like people get burnt out really quickly if the only focus is the other person.
Yes,
right?
Agreed.
So one thing that's really cool is that we both have our own businesses, and being able to even just hang out, and I'm working on my businesses, she's working on her business, and then like she's like, hey, I had this win, like I got this contract done, and like that's freaking awesome. And I got this one, and I got this contract over here. I'm doing the training of it. Like it's super exciting to have these wins together.
Yeah.
Together separately, and then also like pull it together for for ourselves. So
cause for better celebrations.
I mean, I will admit, I remember one time I was working on a job, and he might have helped write something
I wrote,
for me.
Yeah,
he's written a few things.
But that's
for
okay.
me.
But you know what?
Like
I'm like,
intro?
babe, I have this.
I think you wrote her intro, didn't you?
Come on.
That intro's amazing.
I'm gonna take credit for that.
Yeah.
I go, hey, there's an intro in my bag. Will you look at it? Read the 3 options. Let me know what you think. Maybe we can change it up a little. I'm in the shower, and he's like, yeah, Yep. That sounds good. I like it.
I love exactly what you said, though, by the way. I couldn't have said it better on that intro. So thank you for doing that. I mean, I was even stressing out about that.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So that's like probably one of my faults is I'm definitely a procrastinator, which he knows. I'm like, I'll be ready at 10 o'clock, which means 10 plus 5.
10 plus 5. Yeah.
Yep. Just give me a plus
I've
5.
learned that.
So,
and
but
I'm like, I like to be on time, and on time means like 10 minutes early.
Oh, no.
So,
But
so
you blend it, though. After a while, it starts learning how to blend together. That's the beauty of it.
for sure.
Yeah.
Packing last minute.
He'll
be like, "Are you packed for the trip?" I'm like,
well,
no,
I'm bad
I'll
about
pack
that
in the
too.
morning.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'll do it that morning, but I know already in my head what I'm taking and think so too.
Yeah.
Whereas my girlfriend, she's like the night before, there's like clothes strewn out over the bed and like shoes on the floor. And I'm like, we're only going for a day trip. It's like,
But we like options, Chris. We need options.
I love the options because the options is where the fun is. I love when she comes up, she tries on all those apps. I love that, especially when the options for after hours.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Plenty of options there.
She can bring as many of those more as she wants to hear that, honey. All right. No, but chase wise though, honestly, like I said, like it's the ego that drives us to do that. And Jamie, you had said something. I feel like you have to be chasing all the time. And I know for myself, and these are some of my biggest things for what I love to do when I'm chasing someone. It's like I put all my time and energy when someone I really like them, I put it all into them, not in the way that you said, like, I have all my other things, but I let them know that you're on my radar and I'm zoning in on you right now. And even if they tell me, you know what, I'm going to be doing this, like you said, I got a job, I sprinkle in, there's that word again. I'm going to use that all the rest of this podcast today. I sprinkle in all the little things, like I'll send a text, hey, just what's up? Just thinking about you, and never too invasive to make them like ever feel like it's like annoying. It's just the little things.
I like that. Or even just like a few hearts. So they're like, oh, I know he's thinking about me.
Right.
I think
he's actually really good at that.
That's super valuable to me. And I think knowing your person and knowing what is valuable to them is important. I have a hard time for asking for anything like that. I suck at asking for anything. So, having that as hey, just let me know when you're thinking about me. Like that's huge for me. Mm-hmm. And making time, even when you're busy, to do that is important. And I think that, you see that play out in past relationships and how that carries through and so I truly value that.
Yeah. Yeah. You just said something, by the way, where, it has to carry over. And I feel like a lot of people along the way lose that, once they feel like they've captured that prize. And I don't like using that word, I've got you now, babe. Yeah. And it's like, all right, I'm done.
Do you still check in with Jamie?
All the time. Like, I mean, it's just like.
So like throughout your day, you'll send her little messages.
Yes. But I have to admit though, and this is what I was going to get to, my flaws. So my flaw side of things it's that I love chasing, but I also like having a little bit of people chasing me as well. Whenever girls chasing me, it's the once again the yin and yang of it, where like I love when a girl is just like, not in that psychopathic way or crazy way, but just the little things that are letting me know, hey, just thinking about you, as well. But in my life, with me and my partner, she's busy as hell. She'd be in surgery for like 8 to 10 hours sometimes. And I'm not expecting her to like reach out to me or anything like that. But I know myself where I get a little kind of bitchy mood. I'm like, she hasn't reached out today. And I go, maybe I should call. I go, fuck this. I ain't calling her. And I play this. and I know it's a bad. And I tell her something. It's sometimes I go, why do I have to reach out? I don't feel like reaching out. I want her to reach out this time. And I become this little pissy little baby and get my butt hurt and be like, I want her to do it. So I'm going to hold off and see if I can last the whole day without calling her.
How long will it take?
Why are you looking at me? Because I'm going to tell you
I've
why.
Experienced that.
Because he is in fucking Florida and I like to sleep in. So
sometimes it is really hard.
Like I may not get up
3 hours
until
ahead, by the way, too, in her defense.
So I'm like jet lagged. Yeah. So I may not be getting up until like 11 a.m. and then it's 11, 12, 1. It's 2 o'clock. He's like, I've already basically
I've had a full day.
Yes. And I haven't heard from you. And I'm like, sorry, I'm fucking sleeping.
Right. So.
Or like, and then you'll get up and you'll have a meeting right off the bat that you're late for or something. Not that you would ever be late for a meeting.
God, never. I'm always on time.
No, so like something like that where I 100%.
But at least
that.
you voice it out. This is all playing out in my head.
It plays out in my head too.
I'm just like, how come she hasn't called? And I'm being like, I'm like, well, in my defense, I've been in like 6 back-to-back tennis lessons. So what the fuck am I complaining about? I didn't reach out to her. But that's the thing where it's like, so I literally sometimes go, man, I haven't heard from this person. Now I get all kind of pissy and moody on the inside.
How do you deal with that? Is there because I think that's a pretty common problem, especially in today's day and age where you have people that are like ghosting people or, left you on red. Like those are the common like terms now. It's like, oh, he left me on red. Okay, so how do you fix that internally?
Right.
Because that's been honestly, that's a struggle for me.
It's a trust in. I feel honestly, it's a trust in your. That it's a trust that the person that you're with well enough. So when I spin these things in my head, I'm like, what the hell, Chris? Just reach out to her. It's like, it's not like it's not a one up. It's not like I did more than this than you did this, and I'm not trying to say that in my head. I say that, and I'm letting all my viewers know. So you're learning a lot more about me all the time, as you always do on this fucking show. When I put myself out there, but seriously though, it's like you just have to just say, fuck it, just whatever you're feeling, you have to put it out there. And sometimes some people go, God, it's annoying that he does this, but there's always a right way to do something where it's more like, oh my God. And we feel like I'm sure like for you go, God, I want to say this, but I feel like it's annoying,
I don't want to be
right?
overbearing and be like, hey, I haven't heard from you in like 35 minutes.
Right.
You're so needy.
I don't want to be, that's a genuine fear of like,
maybe you should keep that to yourself, Joe.
No, it's not 35 minutes. I'm just saying, but like, you don't want to be needy.
Right.
You don't want to be overbearing. You don't want to be like an attention whore.
Of course.
Right?
But the sincerity of it, like that one time you go, hey, I really miss you right now. Like one thing that I appreciate from my girlfriend, and this is something where we laugh about all the time. It's kind of like a thing between us now. She goes, the first time she did this to me, and I could tell her vulnerability was just like out there. And she goes, and I'm like, yes, honey. And I could see it. She goes, I'm feeling really mushy right now. And for her to say that, it was huge. And I looked at her and I went, come here. And I just soaked it all in because I knew it was a big deal for her to say that. And I didn't say, oh, honey, laugh it up because, that would have probably put up a wall. But
absolutely.
She was expressing her true feelings. And I think that's all we can do sometimes. And sometimes, yes, it's not going to be received perfectly all the time, but hopefully if you're with the right person or pursuing the person, they're hopefully feeling and thinking the same thing. Like nothing better than when I go, hey, my Jamie, I go, hey, God, I really miss you right now. I feel like I haven't seen you in days. And it's like, it's just 10 minutes I did not see her. And she goes, I feel the same way. But I can feel the sincerity in that text or that call. And so it makes me not feel like an asshole. I'm going, why? I'm not playing that stupid game of like, she didn't call me yet. Why the fuck? Just let it go.
I think the key is definitely timing.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling it, you have to don't bring it up to me like when I'm bustling into like a meeting and you got me on the phone. I'm like, hey, 2 minutes. And then, that's
the wrong
bad timing, guys.
And
don't do that.
Please tell them that again.
Yeah. It's all about the timing. So find the perfect time to where you can sit and connect, or you're having like a good conversation, not like right before they're
right. And that's, I guess, what I meant by sometimes it doesn't go across well. And that you just said it perfectly. It's the timing of it that sometimes is not the right time, and people don't read the room.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So you don't necessarily, I feel like, have to address it at that moment, but keep it and you bring it up, and communication's key. So like he loves to. I don't want to say he loves. Well, I love getting letters. So he'll write me letters. And I was going to the mailbox the other day and he's like, you've only written me one letter. That's all he had to say. Like, I already know that means that
it's a checking in.
That
That's great.
I need to write him a couple more letters.
Look what you're getting out of it now, right?
But yeah.
Instead of stewing in the room going, fucking hell, I've written her 10 letters and she's only written one time.
She never writes me back.
And you voiced it and look what happened. And guys, out there, listeners, that's the main part of it. And Jamie, you said it perfectly. It's just like, you have to communicate and voice what you want. And I feel like we all are, we're always trying to outguess ourselves, outthink our own selves in the wrong way sometimes. And that's why, it's like that person going down that downward spiral. And all of a sudden it's like, if you would have just asked me, I would love to do that for you. And they're like, it was that easy to really just ask you that? It's like, yes. It's like, I'm not a monster. I'm not going to like come bite your head off.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone needs to express themselves. And that's why I love the chase. So, yeah.
And then when is like too soon to like start asking for things like sexually?
second. Oh wait, well, I'll do it in Joe's time. 35 minutes. Yeah. And off of that, so I'll one up your 35 minutes here. See this thing.
Okay.
I love my guys on the show. Thank you for being here, Joe. We're going to dive into this now. So for me, you asked a very good question. Not the sex part of it, but I kind of like that early too. But so when Jamie and I reconnected, my Jamie reconnected. It's that thing where we hadn't seen each other in almost 17 years, right?
Wow.
We're talking on the phone, but that chemistry, that energy's there. So I decided that,
So you guys never really lost that.
I don't think we did. And the reason, here's the funny part. When we decided to meet, and this is a funny story. So she was going off to a work thing in Nashville, and then she was going to go to New York and visit friends. I had a charity event on that Saturday night, and she was going to see what's the Broadway play? Hamilton, yeah.
What was this?
This is I was trying to do a dance song and dance.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry.
I was like, is he stabbing someone? Like,
We're skiing.
3 words.
Here you go. Use this.
So basically, she goes, "Well, I have something at Hamilton, but I have some time before that." And I go, "Well, I don't want to put you out." Da 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 da. And then that night before, I was like, I was at this party, and I go, "Fuck it." I went in the bathroom and I called. I go, "Is that offer still available to meet you before Hamilton tomorrow?" She goes, "Yes, it is." I go, "Great, I'll take it." Because I couldn't be away from her anymore. And I wanted to see her. I couldn't wait a week because we had planned to do a week later. So
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So I get to the restaurant, this bar restaurant before her, and she comes walking in, and I was like, it was like she had looked like she did from when we first met 17 years ago. And I was floored. And she sat down. And where I'm going with this is that I planned to kiss on her 10 minutes after, and we were inseparable at that point. Like, I just saw the cues and I was like, fuck it. Like, and that was
you went in for
that was
it.
my pursuit of the chase. Like, I saw that 10 minutes, it seemed like, however long it seemed in anybody else's journey, but at that moment I go, this is the right moment. And I know that she feels the same when I said, fuck it, you got to go for it.
Yeah.
And it was the right time and moment. And I was on cloud 9 after that. Still am on cloud 9.
Oh, wow.
I can tell.
So I think,
Yeah.
God, can't you to me. This is awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But that's the pursuit. So I sometimes I feel like everybody has their route of a pursuit. I zero in because I know it's the right person, the right time. And it's my gut feeling.
You guys are sleeping together before you reconnected, right?
Well, because we dated 5 months, 17 years before that.
Right,
So, yes,
right.
yes.
So my question is, when you guys finally connected again for the second time, how was the sex?
I'm already smiling in my head.
Were you
I really want this one to be on video today.
I know, but I want to know. I want to be were you wow, she's so much better than I thought?
I think this is the first time I've ever been in the hot seat on the show before.
She's
ever.
throwing it at you, man.
I want to know.
Oh, you're amazing host. I love you. No, seriously, it was.
I mean, you've heard of this happening where people are married for, 10, 15 years, they get divorced, and then all of a sudden they're back together.
Yeah, that's what it was like. Even that first time we had sex, a week and a half later, 2 weeks later, whatever it was, and she was like, we're going to take our time with this. I'm like, okay, it's great. And when we did, it was just it was like we had never missed a beat because it's like having that previous relationship, you have your imagery of things that you used to do together and things like that.
Yeah.
And everything was just amplified tenfold because we were more experienced, more mature, and more everything else. And it's just an incredible run. So yeah. But like I say, it's like for your sake, the pursuit of the chase never stops. It never stops. And don't ever be afraid to voice your opinions. And likewise for you too, my dear. Because I feel like a lot of women kind of get off the hook a little bit because they always want the guy to do the chasing. And I've heard a lot of women say this, by the way. It's like, well, he should be chasing me. And I'm like, that's fucking bullshit.
I think it's a two-way street. I think that's
why
I
I think it's
agree.
bullshit.
There's got to be some on both ends.
Right.
And we had a guest previously that talked about that too.
Yeah.
With Amber, and she was like, I love that he keeps me on my toes. So I think it's extremely important.
And her to him, it's the little things, that
Yeah.
matter most. You don't have to do anything extravagant. It's something as simple as just, I don't know, a note on the, I love when my Jamie leaves a little sticky note on the mirror because, we're both in busy mode. All of a sudden there's this note that says, I love you. I'm like, it just stops my day and makes you just go right back to why you're together. So I appreciate all that.
He leaves me notes before he goes to work.
I love that.
By
See, you're on the
my
right-
coffee, I'm like, oh, and it's
God,
a
you
nice
made
little
good coffee,
card.
by the way. Did I tell you he made coffee for me this morning?
I know.
It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
She made coffee for me this morning.
How's it taste?
So you paid it forward.
Yes. See, how'd it taste? It's almost like that driving thing you guys were talking about. Remember that in the car? It's like,
No.
Oh, no, we're good with we're good with
gosh.
coffee. We're good with coffee.
Yeah.
The driving is. She drove yesterday afternoon after we went back to the house, and she's like,
Did she step
"Get out of my
up?
seat! You're not sitting there. You have to talk to me."
Taking
She's like,
it in charge. Yeah. Well, I just needed like a little, because sometimes he drives like we're in a fucking race.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
we are.
fucking slow down, buddy. Like,
we
don't have
it's
to be
always
in-
a race.
come on. I just needed like a little slow me down, like a little driving Miss Daisy and fuck, I'm trying to text and shit, and I'm like flying all over, like I can't fucking read. I got the vertigo. I'm like, that's
it's
it.
like heavy metal over here and R&B soul over here. It's like
Right,
nice and
right.
slow. I'd probably even say
But she's
classical.
the one with the Def Leppard shirt on.
That's right. It's the funny thing
man.
about that.
It's all a dream.
That's really funny. All right, so Joe, I want you to give I'm just going to ask you one piece of advice for someone who's also been in a long-term relationship as well, and I know we all have been in that as well. What do you feel like the goal is for people in long relationships to keep that going?
Well, I think we've already hit the nail on the head with that, is continue the pursuit and taking time aside for yourselves, right? For you as a couple, and then also making sure that you have goals and aspirations that are joint and separate.
Don't put all your eggs into one basket.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's super crucial. And it sounds so cliche, like taking time for yourselves, but that's what it is. And
right.
I will tell you, like the first time that I hung out with Jamie in a situation where I didn't have like to go somewhere or like to go like nothing crazy, like we're just hanging out, and like I don't even know the last time I slowed down like this. And just was.
Okay.
Right. Was just present. And it was, I will tell you, it was a freaking struggle for me. It was hard as hell for me to like stop myself from being constant work mode. Cause like I medicate with work, right? I will work as a coping mechanism for me a lot of times. And it is like, cause I can work 27 hours a day, 13 days a week if I wanted to. I could literally work all the time. And so forcing myself to not work, and that I've also done that with my daughters as well, is like really been purposeful about being present with them, and I've seen that play out huge. Even last week when we were in Utah, just taking the time, even though like I know my sister's in the hospital, I'm gonna take them on a hike and just not be preoccupied with what's going on medically, but just go and experience nature with them and hike a waterfall, and like super, super awesome. So I think that's crucial to any long-term relationship, is being able to take the time, set it aside and say, hey, this is going to be for us, even if it's one day every 2 weeks, Right. Like, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of time, but this is your time and this is our time. Right. So I think to me, that's vital.
I love that. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, first of all, I'm a big fan of the chase. So I like being chased and I like doing a little chasing. But I feel like he's right on with that, like having your own hobbies and things that excite you, and then also having that together is definitely key. And then, I mean, the kids are just like a whole nother like ball game. So I know early on when I was talking about the time thing, because it is important to me with my, my schedule being so hectic. Like the 2-week thing, I brought that up, and he was like, look, my schedule's so crazy. And I've never like really hung out with someone that their schedule is similar to mine or even more so. And he was like, my schedule's so crazy. I just want to like put it out front. Like, I'm not willing to give up my time with my girls. Like, this is when I have them. And that's one thing I'm not really willing to compromise.
The non-negotiable.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, I didn't know if I liked it. So I'm like, to me, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if that's going to work. So, and granted, like, it's something that's admirable. Like, us girls, like, you don't want to date a guy that's like a fucking deadbeat and doesn't want to spend time with their kids. So, but then we as women too, we want to feel like prioritized and important too. Like, hey, your time with me matters. So I'm like, ooh, how am I going to create this balance? Like, I want to feel important too, but I also want to see him be an amazing father. and then it just kind of played out. Like we were in Hawaii, and he was like, we're only going to go 2 days. And then I'm bratty myself, and I'm like, I'm not going. Like, we have to go a whole week. And he's like, babe, I can't. I have the girls. And then he totally took charge, and he just booked my flight and was like, this is what we're doing. I'm going to give an extra day. And so that made it all the more better for me.
That's
so
great.
I was like, okay, he sacrificed, he was like a man and just took it charge and was like, this is what we're doing, sent me my itinerary, which I totally appreciated. And then I just felt like he gave a little more extra when he was like, hey, I'm going to give up my day with my girls, and I'm going to spend this day with you. So
you guys, that's amazing. I like that.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
That's like one of the learning processes for me is like, I've been super, super heavy on the prioritization for my girls, and I still am very much in that mode, and that's not going anywhere.
Of course.
We live on opposite sides of the country, and I'm like, I can't move out there.
Right. But what I'm hearing, though, which is something that makes a good point for this, Pursuit of the Chase episode as well, is that it's compromise.
Yes.
And that's huge for this because, one person might want something, and you got to find that middle ground. And I think
agree.
that what you just said, the compromise is huge on that, and that's
and
great.
no one ever wants to hear, like, we all have our non-negotiables, but I think like early on, no one wants to hear like, hey, this is not going to happen for you. Because for me being, like the alpha, like I am, I don't want to know that anything's off the table. Like, I want to know that everything is a possibility. And so that was like a little, like, that made me be like, oh, I don't know.
But he reassured you, right?
he totally like moved in and like, what's the word? Redeemed himself.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how like when you're like, we are who we are, and it's like, and when someone can always get that little like piece of like taken off of us, and that we're not expecting or not used to having off of us. Like you said, you're like a workaholic. I know I am. I know you are.
Yeah.
But it's that thing where it's as simple as like someone just doing something for you that you trust and are like, and then you have to take a step back and go, I have to let this happen. Like you said, for the first time, you actually took a moment to breathe, and it's not easy. Like I get told that all the time with my Jamie. She's like, there'll be moments when I walk in, I'm like a bee, like bzzz, OCD and all over the house and everything. Like, and she'll go like, Chris, babe. She goes, hi, and she'll grab me and she'll go, hi, and look me in the eye. I'm like,
Oh,
hello. Hi, there you are. And it literally just, it's almost like, it's almost like, what do they say with those animals that, or like, just rub the belly, and they just kind of like, they start soothing, they just kind of roll over like, oh, she's got me like that. So I think everybody needs that all the time.
she's the Chris whisperer.
All right, so let's talk about the bad part about chasing. I know, what do you feel as a woman, Jamie?
So I just
bad?
think like overbearing, like too much. But I feel like I've communicated like early on, like, look, when I first wake up, give me my hour. Like, don't be in my space. Don't, and especially him, because he is so distracting. He loves to like, and I'll just look at him and he's like, you want me to go away? And I'm like, yeah, it hasn't been an hour. But he's cute. He'll bring me a cup of coffee, and then he notices the coffee's, I don't even want to talk when I first wake up.
Okay.
Like I literally want like an hour to like stretch, like unwind, not be on my phone. And sometimes like we're opposite in that way. Like he wants to show me videos, and I'm like, no, I don't want to see any.
I'm up for the
day.
day.
He's like
go.
up and at him, like a little Energizer bunny. And I'm like, whoa. So he'll just notice the coffee is gone, and he just brings me another cup. So I think it's important to respect the space and then I acknowledge that he's different than me. Mm-hmm. So I'm not like going to be like, hey, motherfucker, get out of here.
Yeah.
So
right.
You know what I mean? Just respecting that, we're different and still learning. But not, I mean, gosh, you just got to give the space. Yeah. I think that's,
can a pursuit of the chase become, if it's too overbearing, like you said, can it like cross the line and become all of a sudden kind of psychotic and psychopathic? Like I'm thinking of those movies as she's talking about that, where I go, when that guy at the beginning of the movie and the girl, and they're all and then all of a sudden he does just something fucked up. All of a sudden she just flips the switch like, oh, you're not the guy.
Like I have anxiety thinking about it because I've hung out with people, and it's like, I know immediately, like this is not going to work for me because they're just it's like too much for me. So as much as my life is like on the go, I am so used to doing for myself that sometimes if someone's like, like I'll give an example, like shooting a match. Like I'm still new to the sport, so I want to pack my own bag. I want to know that my eyes, ears, my belt is in there. So I'm like kind of doing a self check. And one of the guys that I dated, he would want to do everything for me, to where it was like, fuck, I got to check my own shit. Back the fuck off. And you almost feel like a bitch, but that's kind of like my space. So, I mean,
did he take offense to it?
Yeah, he did, because that was who he is. Okay. So I couldn't if I went to go get out of the chair, Chris, he would be up before me, like pulling the chair out, and I'd be like, relax.
Right.
It's okay. I can get my chair. I love like when a man is a gentleman and will get the door for me and get my chair. But I feel like finding that balance is like key, because sometimes it's like too much. And I'm like, hey man, I'm my own person here. I'm fine. I can get my jacket off. It's all good. Yeah. So just gauging your person and finding that balance.
That's a great one.
Well, it's been a challenge on my end, just figuring that out.
For me?
For you, yeah. Well,
because she's more independent. Is that why you mean?
Well, going to like the personal side of things, like this is the first relationship I've had as an adult, really.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, I got married when I was 19.
Is this hot news? Hot news flash.
Right. It's and so learning another person, another adult in this situation, not having dated around the whole bunch is a whole learning experience for me.
Right. So you're still trying to find your balance within yourself, and that's a good one too, by the way, because I feel like every relationship, if you're going into something new, it is finding a new balance, because we have ways of how we want to do something, but that might not be your way.
Right.
Or it might not be
right.
his way.
And I have, like, let's be honest, I have like 10 years on him. So I've had a lot more experience in dating. Yeah. So I feel like I'm very well aware of like what I need, what I want. Like I've kind of been there, done that. I know that's not going to work for me.
Right.
So I don't know. Is it like you can't? I don't know. Maybe he's still like figuring that out for himself.
Right. And that's okay as long as you,
which is good for me.
That. Right. No, he knows that apparently.
Because you're like,
ooh, yes.
Ball of clay, I can mold you however I want. Not quite, but coming out of a marriage, and then after my marriage, and I literally just focused on work and my daughters, and that was it. It was head down, not doing anything else, and then freaking Def Leppard shirt. How the hell did that happen? Literally not.
Look who walked through the door.
looking for that at all, but blew me off my feet.
Wow, wow, that's great.
But yeah, it's just it's definitely a learning process on that side of things for sure. And being okay with myself in that process, right? Trying to figure new things out, and like, how do you be a good father and also have a priority as a partner,
right?
So there is no right answer to it. I think it's learning the process and continuing on.
Can I give you my wisdom at my age?
Oh yeah, let's hear this.
I want to hear the elderly wisdom.
I like everything you just said, but I'm gonna tell you this. Make sure in the process, just be open to listening, making sure you hear what she says, so you can always pivot and make sure that you are helping yourself grow that way. And communication, number one for sure. And like I said, put it out there. If you, like I said earlier, we all have something that we might want to say, but we overthink, wow, is this going to come across right? Da 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 da. Just put it out there.
I say it, yeah. And you have to, because it festers. If not, it festers, and then it becomes a million other things.
But what you said to him, Jamie, right now, though, which I like, is the fact that she's open to receiving it, and that's why you put those little things out there to see how much a person can take, how much they can receive. Sure, there might be some things that hey, that's not what I want to talk about. Like, it's funny with one of our episodes with Natalie on an episode when she was just like, you know what? If my man sees a woman across the street, and I was like, I put it out. She said, nah, and I was like, oh, damn, like that. Like, I even at that point would have been like, I can't say shit. You know what I mean? But you got to at least put it out there, because and
she is hot as hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, so, but I get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not some women just don't want
She
to
doesn't
hear
like that. But at least putting it out there one time, at least now, hey, you know what? I don't think I can actually say this in front of her anymore because it might make her feel uncomfortable, and I want to respect her wishes and things like that.
Yeah.
So, so you learn, but out of all this too, like most people just don't hear what someone's telling them, which is really shitty because they have their own opinion on how they should do things. You got your own opinion, how you want to do something. And all of a sudden it's just like this clash of like, bang, you guys are banging heads. And we've all seen those relationships, by the way. And not to say that, the ebb and flow of it does happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out how to break the barriers down and get past that. Well, I sound very philosophical, don't I?
You do. You do.
So that's my wisdom.
So
see how I'm sitting up in my chair? Wisdom. You'll sit up taller as you get older too.
I usually am like all slouched, like laid up. So do you feel like you're like jealous or not so much?
I can be, and that's trying to kind of navigate that whole thing too. Is different, but
in what sense?
Well, again, like coming from what I know from my past is, I got married young, and
I got married young too.
Yeah, but then at that point, it was the only relationship I'd really ever had.
Right.
And so there was no, even learning to talk about exes, right? And that's just, you have to acknowledge that's part of somebody's history, and that's part of their understanding of reality, and becoming comfortable with those conversations. Like at first it's like, that's weird. Why are we talking about that? And it's like, oh, because that's part of who you are. And so it's a process, and working through that to understand, like, and it's helped me kind of understand who I am at my core, and like trying to still dig into that, because I'll have something, like I have a reaction to something, whether it's her working late and then I'm up 3 hours ahead, so then she's sleeping in, and then I'm like thinking about all this other stuff. And like, why is that not necessarily a trigger, but why is that creating a reaction in
like
me?
why does it affect you?
What is causing that effect? And so that's caused me to look at myself and say, okay, what is this based in? And it's just always a learning process.
I have the answer.
What is it? Tell me.
It's not a bad thing. It's like, because we all have it. It's insecurities. We all have our own insecurities, and it has nothing to do. Like you said, you've lived a life through marriage. Kids. You've seen hurt. We've all have, and so it forms these insecurities in us. And when those insecurities happen, it's the first thing that we go to, that we pick on, because like something similar happens, all of a sudden it's like it just jumps out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so that's what it is. But there are ways around it, because like I said, I feel like a lot of people with their insecurities comes ego a lot of the time.
Yes.
Because
we got to get rid of the ego.
We don't want to get hurt, so we protect ourselves. And like a lot of women say it, a lot of guys say it, but we don't voice as much as they do. But I feel like they should. Is that when we feel like our insecurities there, we pull up our ego as our wall.
Right.
And now we have to protect ourselves by showing a different side of us. So, and some people, might come out a little more brash than others and things like that, where it's just not the right way. But, I feel the way to help yourself through those insecurities, like you said, you're looking inside yourself. That's number one. And I really appreciate you saying that, by the way. But you had said something a minute ago, and I was thinking of something you said early at the beginning of this episode, that when you saw your sister, it was like you saw her as an adult now. And it was just funny because you were like, wow, this is great hanging out with this adult now. It's the same thing for you.
Yeah.
You're coming into this whole new world of yourself, and more on a different relationship and things like that. View it the same way, because allow yourself to be open, and all those little insecurities that you feel, it's not easy to get rid of them, but just tell yourself, look, I know who I am. My shit stinks just as much as her shit stinks. And that's how I get through a lot of stuff. So jealousy is a very good question. I like that you asked that. And thank you for answering that, because I feel like I'm not an insecure person, but I do have small, and there are very moments where I feel that, because it's more of a feeling more than just me just having those insecurities.
Right.
And so for myself, the reason why I don't ever feel secure is because I know who I'm with. I wouldn't be with you if I didn't feel like you were this, like you said, ride or die. I love when you use that term all the time. Ride or die person who's got my back, and you wouldn't do anything. And if you did, I would expect you to talk to me and tell me. And if you didn't, and I find out, oh, well, you're just not the one for me. And that's my hard non-negotiable for myself. I taught myself that. It's like, look, because I've been through so much cheating and so much than that. And I was on this flip side or whatever it is going, what if that ever happened to you? And I go, well, I got to be able to understand why that happened and just be able to trust a person. So I'm like how my Jamie trusts me, as some of the stories we've shared with my past, where I can be around girls all day long, and she's like, I could care less. I know Chris all through and through, and this and that, and that's a trust. Like she can leave me with women in the house by myself. I can hang out with girls all night long and call. Like she'll be calling me on trips. Hey, don't
get any ideas, Joe.
I don't know if this girl's sitting naked next to me because she decided to take her shirt off. We're just talking and just little. I'm going overboard, but little things like that. But it's just really fun. She's like,
you'd be dead.
She'd be.
Just kidding.
No, but once again, it's a level of like how we know each other to where it's like, and by the way, if she didn't appreciate that, I would never do that.
It wouldn't work for you.
Right.
It wouldn't.
But she allows me to be me because that's her trust in me. She knows that I would never do anything to her and vice versa. So it puts those little thought processes in my head of saying, I'm the shit just like she's the shit because I think she's the shit, but I'm just as shitty as she is. And that's how you start doing it. So
and like you said earlier, jealousy comes down to insecurities. And so then you have to, for me, it's like, well, why do I feel insecure in this situation? And I've shared that with her before when there have been times that like, yeah, this feels shitty to me. Why? I don't know why it necessarily feels shitty to me, but it does.
Okay.
And I don't like saying that because then I'm exposing my insecurities, and it's like, well,
the ego wall.
And then
see, but I have no problem. I told him early on. Go ahead.
And then it becomes an issue of, well, if I show her my insecurities here, is that crossing a non-negotiable? And if it is, so be it. And I have to, like, as a man, you have to come into a position of, okay, this is an insecurity for me that can be corrected. And by me putting that out there, if it crosses a non-negotiable, then I have to be okay with that. And like I would never want to be in that situation, but it's the reality of it. Yeah. So like, first of all, identify where my insecurities are. Why am I having that insecurity? And that's not something that I think is easily attainable. Like I think there's therapists that go to school for years to try to figure that shit out for you. But I think that looking inward first is important and trying to figure out, okay, why do I feel jealous or insecure in this moment? And then if it isn't a personal issue that you can correct, or I can correct it myself, then I can deal with that.
Got it.
And it's like, yeah, that's a non-issue. Why am I being insecure about it? You staying at Jamie's house while I'm gone. Like, why would I be insecure about that? I shouldn't be, right?
Were you?
Was it a?
I mean,
yes.
I would be.
Yeah, there was
Have you seen me? I mean, yeah, you're looking at me. You see me, right? I would.
Did the thought process like occur in my head? Yes, but I dealt with that internally.
Right.
Like,
but you never said anything to me.
But
because I was able to deal with it internally.
But here's the thing, and I agree with him as well. Though the thought process, that's human nature. That's you, me, whoever. But there's nothing wrong with having a thought process. It's how you deal with it on that side and what the results of that are going to be. So I appreciate it.
So how did you get past that then for like people that maybe like struggle for that?
For me, it was, I looked internally. I said, okay, number one, why?
Because he never said this to me. This is news to me.
Why would I feel insecure about that situation?
Yeah.
Right. Number one, do I trust you? Right. And yes, I do trust you. So I have to take that into account. So number two, if I do trust you, then why do I feel insecure about this? And is it based off of an old pattern? Is it based off of, you always look at the reflection, right? Because a lot of times your perception of somebody else is actually a reflection of yourself. So is that a reflection on myself? And like when I started to look at it that way, I said, okay, so these may be the reasons why I feel insecure about this situation. Is that something is that something I need to bring up to you and say, hey, I don't feel secure about this situation? No, I didn't feel like that. I felt like I could deal with that internally and not have it as like a simmering issue, because I don't want that either. We've had these conversations before on some other topics that I was insecure about that were an issue that I brought up to her, and then it was never an issue again, right? editing a video for you.
Oh yes.
Right. So that was.
But he offered.
Okay.
We'll
did.
give a little background.
Right. I did.
So I had a modeling job.
Okay.
Our viewers, and they know about Taylor. So Taylor is my ex, and I had a job that entailed Taylor. So the videographer didn't finish the fucking video.
It was horrible. Yeah.
Okay.
And Joe offered, which I didn't even really think twice about. I'm like, oh, he's so nice. And I'm in Hawaii and still working and enjoying, my girlfriends at the same time. So he offered. So I sent him the footage and he created the video. But
so, and it was on me. Like and this was early on too. I remember when that was.
This was in February.
Yeah. So it was.
Because he sent me flowers.
So it was early on, but it was like a date that they went on for this job. And so I'm sitting here like watching the footage of this date of them going on a date together. I'm like, this feels fucking horrible.
Right.
Like, and again, we were in a position where it's like
he knew that I was hanging out with him and going to be with him.
Right. And she told me ahead
and
of time.
Taylor still like had FaceTimed me and been like, hey, you want to go to dinner? And I kind of it wasn't very nice of me, but I incorporated the job and dinner into one.
Okay.
So it wasn't really like a one-on-one dinner, which I still would have went to dinner with Taylor because we're friends. And it was nothing like hidden. It was in the open.
And it was all in the open. There was nothing hidden about it. And like me coming to grips with, okay, it still feels shitty for me. Like even like that's when I looked internally, like, am I okay with like getting over this and like just letting it go? And it still felt really shitty. Okay. Like especially like going through and editing their video and then sending it to them. I'm like, hey, look, if
look,
if this is something that you're gonna do, number one, I don't want to know. I don't want any part of it.
Okay.
And that was difficult for me. Like.
To say that
to come out with that and be like, hey, this is, I'm not okay with it.
Right.
Because for me because now I'm kind of laying my own type of non-negotiable down. And not that it's a non-negotiable that like, if you ever saw Taylor, I would never want, like, that's bullshit. Like you're still friends and that's fine.
Yeah.
But for me to sit there and watch them go on a date and then me edit the video and I'm like, I'm seeing Jamie, and this is like what I'm also. It's just a shitty feeling across the board, and so but that was one of those times that I looked at myself and I'm like, can I deal with this personally? No, let me bring it up to her, and so I brought it up to her.
That was smart, yeah.
And I think then once I brought it out, it was no longer an issue.
Yeah,
and it does take away, and it makes you feel like you took some weight off your shoulder, right?
Oh yeah.
We're cool though, right? We're cool.
Oh, we're cool.
I like this guy.
So this kind of brings up like another question, and I kind of want to know from you too, is because I'm a big proponent on talking about exes, and some people it's like a non-negotiable, but I feel like that's how we learn.
Yes.
So I want to know, like I ask him about his marriage, like, hey, did X, Y, and Z? And he'll be like, oh yeah, we did that, or no, we didn't do that. Like I want to know because I feel like that's how I gauge him and how I can be a better partner. And realistically, I feel like there's no reason to be jealous of the exes because clearly it didn't fucking work out. And that's why they're an ex to begin with.
Well, and Joe said it earlier too, and I'll answer that. You said it earlier where it's like, it's a part of, I don't know if it was, you said it or Amber. Someone said it, and I'm going to put it out there. Yeah. But it's that thing of where your past is your past. You cannot implement yourself into someone's past and be jealous over something that's your life, and you are now a part of this person's life now at this moment. You moved together forward from this point on. You're not going to like go back in the past and some magic DeLorean and be like, okay, I'm going to court myself in this part. So that's another thing too, that lets all that inhibition go as well. And all that insecurities and stuff too. So, what I was getting at is asking questions about exes. I like that. I don't ask questions. I hope that someone, and like I told my girlfriend, I said, look, she was with her past relationship sort of like that. I go, look, whenever you want to share anything from that. I just want you to know that it's okay or whatever, because we're all going to intertwine stuff like that as well. Some people don't like to do it because they feel like they're hurting the other person's feelings, blah, blah, blah. I think it's like you said, it's a growing thing because it just brings a new levels to your relationship. So you get some information and she's getting information and now you guys stay on the same page, you know?
Yeah.
And I do like that. I never ask someone, so what did you do with the ex here or there? Or just, you know, I usually, if I'm telling a story, she'll bring in a story. Well, this is what we did. And I love that. I like the organic part of it though. I like when it's organic. So
do I talk about my exes too much?
No, it's a conversation.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes some conversations have to come up like that, you know?
Yeah. I just feel like sometimes that's how like you learn and kind of say, hey, this used to happen and it didn't work for me, or I really liked this. And it's just part of like the learning process and getting to know someone.
Well, like for me, my girl's mom, I'm still close with her and she's going to be part of my life for the foreseeable future because we have kids in common. We're committed to co-parenting as effectively as possible, and we want to do whatever we can to be good. Especially
with kids,
too.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like that's something that I know that Jamie has to come to like terms with because, like, that would be one of my non-negotiables. Like, I have to be with my kids, and by me being with my kids, I'm gonna be with their mom.
To be honest, like I don't know how that's gonna show up for me. Yeah. So he may be like hanging out, you know, with the kids and her, and maybe I don't feel comfortable for it, and it's a non-negotiable, and maybe it doesn't work out because I know that that's something that he's voiced like very early on. And I didn't really have that with my girl's dad. We didn't get along. So I was pretty much on my own with them. And he's like, well, like clearly we all want to be able to co-parent, but until we get there, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. So,
well, on his behalf, that's how my situation is. And like my Jamie felt the same way at the beginning, but it's just like, once again, it's about the trust and just like allowing your non-negotiable that you might think it's a big non-negotiable. Whereas I look at it and go, it's not really that much because, it's like, I know you have to know where his heart lies and things like that as well. And it's for the kids. And, obviously, you know, he's with you and stuff like that. You guys are hanging out. But I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around here, but you had said something earlier, Joe, where you were like, you know, when you're with those insecurities that you're working out and stuff, it's through it. And my question to you was, or in the jealousy stuff like that, it's like, do you feel like most of it's just trivial after a while? You know, have you ever like that's why what you just said, and that's why I'm coming back to this. It's about your non-negotiable. I'm looking at going, if you just put it over here and all of a sudden you look at it and go, it's not really that big of a deal. You know, if you really understand what he's doing, what he's really doing, and not just thinking about, well, I feel like this could be going on. It's a huge difference. You know, so my question to you, and maybe both you guys, like sometimes do you feel like those insecurities or those jealousy things, like you said, don't you feel like they're trivial when they finally come out in the open? You're like you said to her for the first time, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this. But then if you never said anything, it would have been stewing on you and stewing. Absolutely. And all of a sudden, once you told her, it just kind of went away a little bit more, right?
I think like it always comes back to communication. Once you throw it out there and you have that conversation, a lot of times, this thing that felt like a huge issue when inside of you, once it's out there, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
So.
See?
Yeah. Well, sometimes our minds get us in trouble too.
Our minds definitely.
Oh my God.
They run away and create all these stories.
Start exploring and
right.
Oh God.
And that's where the crazy psycho stuff comes in. That's a whole nother episode. I got a good one on that one.
Yeah.
By the way. You know, 100% certified. That's gonna be coming out soon.
That sounds like a good topic
on that one. Yeah. So, but that's the stuff we're talking about. So, audience, listeners, Joe, Jamie, myself, you know, the pursuit of the chase, you know, it's a thing, and just keep it going. Look at your wife, look at your partner right now. If you're just dating, just think, you know, go for it, push, and just be your authentic, true self. You know, don't, it's like, this is where games start getting played too, which I do not like. You know, we start playing these games like, you know, yes, I said earlier that I do that in my head sometimes. Like, she didn't call me all day, I'm not going to call her back until she calls me. And I play these stupid games in my head, but then I go, what the fuck? Just call her.
At the same note, like, I know I think that's how Jamie and I connected off the beginning, was because it was just, hey, this is who I am, right? This is what's going on. This is my life currently. And that honest communication was, on both sides, I think, was what kind of made that initial connection happen.
Yeah, we had a lot of things in common. So I think like right off the bat, the communication was good.
Okay.
And
Well, the first time we were talking, you just hit me with like question after question after question, and I'm like,
well, I wanted to know like
Yeah.
the good stuff, so I got right into it.
Well,
I'm
and
I'm not trying to waste
Does
my
she fire
time
off
here.
those questions?
So she was like-
Wait, hold on. Does she fire those questions off faster than she fires her gun?
that is a trick question. I'm not going to go down that.
Good answer.
There's no right answer to that one. Because if I say yes, it's wrong. If I say no, it's wrong. So
Oh, we were almost there.
Your little pot stirrer over
I
there.
know, like pow, pow, pow.
Oh gosh.
Where the question's like,
yeah,
you know?
basically. So, but like, and that was a kind of a moment for me to decide, well, I can answer this and try to like say what she wants to hear. Or I can answer it exactly how things are and just be open. And
I fucking remember shit.
she remembers
Oh.
things, and she
So-
writes this stuff down. And you even told me that she's like, hey, just so you know, like when I ask questions, I remember the answer, and I will ask you again later. I'm like,
oh,
Because you know how some
Yeah.
people give an answer and then like 6 months later, it's like something completely different. And I'll be like,
oh, yeah.
You said, is that a bad quality of mine?
No, I mean,
Chris?
but thank God I don't do that though, because it's like you said, just
Because I feel like
straight
some
shoot.
people, like, I don't know what it is. It's almost like they're like telling you what they think they want you to
Well,
hear
that's what Joe
or
said.
whatever. Yeah.
Joe just said, he goes,
So-
do I tell her what she thinks I want to
or what I think she wants to hear, or do I just tell her the God's honest truth?
Yeah.
And so to me, like that was a kind of a decision I had to make. Was like, well, no, I'm not playing games here. There's no reason for me to play a game. I'm like, I don't know her.
Yeah.
But and neither of us were really looking for anything.
Yeah.
Like we were just having,
We were
a,
having a
conversation.
conversation.
It's all, and that's
all it was.
And that's totally, that's great. I love that.
And
that's,
then what's interesting too is like how things have changed from some of the conversation that we had that original time, and then how things have progressed since then. When she's like, "Oh, you changed your answer on that," and we've been able to talk through. Well, perspectives have changed, life has shifted, and
Which it's okay. Like
Yeah.
he's allowed to
Yeah.
change his mind.
yeah. So it's
So I'm not going to hold that against him. Like he's like, well, at that time, this is where I was at.
yeah.
And he goes, and now X, Y, and Z has happened. So I feel a little different. And I have to accept that and be okay with that.
you got to scratch it off your paper right now, then, off that notebook of yours.
Cross that.
You did say she
Damn
wrote them
it.
all down, right? Scratch that one
Damn
out,
it.
James. Scratch that out.
So
All right, this has been a great episode, Joe. Oh, I mean, we're excited to have you on the show, and thank you for actually coming today and
thanks
spending
for
time
being
with
a
us.
team player.
I like that. Yeah,
I wasn't sure how much of the hot seat that I was going to be in. I knew you had like all sorts of things that you wanted to throw out there.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
Did it ever heat up too much?
I
or was
feel
it
like
okay?
you
Oh, no,
got
it's
away
good.
easy
Oh yeah.
this time.
Oh well.
Okay.
Maybe I should be a pot stirrer now.
We'll have a round 2 later on. So
Maybe
we can
I'll
go back over
incorporate
my
it, yeah.
answers from this one and make sure they're lined up.
Maybe we'll incorporate it to the question today. I'm going to let you ask the question today. So,
Question of the
yeah.
day. Where are we?
We're going to be right here. So we do a question of the day.
Okay.
Every episode, I should say, and this is you're going to answer it first, by the way. So it might put you in the hot seat
Wait,
after
this
all.
isn't the question. Are you paying me back for last time when
Oh
I
my
hid the
gosh.
question
Oh
from
my
you?
gosh.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Hold on. Missed questions again. Oh.
Remember?
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
that's
I got to
right.
keep you on your toes. There it is in your fucking
Payback's a
pile.
bitch,
Damn
right?
you. Okay. Hey guys, great content. Blah, blah, blah. Great content. Hilarious show with amazing guests. Jamie, I love you. And as a fellow model, loved your Life's a Seesaw episode. Not easy balancing all the moving pieces all the time, is it? Christopher, the more I listen to your show, the more impressed I am. So my question, I travel a lot and I have a few guys in rotation that I love seeing. But with my work schedule starting to get crazy again, since work is becoming more busy for me, is it wrong that I never mention to them that I'm seeing other guys as well? I don't think I am in a place right now to commit to anyone, but also don't want to feel like I'm being an asshole. What do you think I should do?
So
What, are you going to jump in and answer?
he
Because
said
I feel like you're really excited for this one.
He said I got to answer first. So when we started
Shit.
talking,
Okay. Oh, wait, what?
Can we cut his mic?
Wait, what? Do tell.
Motherfucker.
she's turning red.
All right.
We're going to talk about the stable.
Oh, God.
Oh,
So
Okay.
when we first started talking and hanging out, and
love of Jesus.
This was highly entertaining, and this was one of those moments of like, how insecure am I? Because at one point, she hadn't brought up the stable to me at all until she said something about, "Oh, you're the stallion. When I need my smart pony, I'll pull out my smart pony." I'm like, the fuck does that mean? It's like, "Oh yeah, I have my stable." I'm like, You're what? She's like, "Yeah, but you're the stallion." I'm like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
It doesn't make me feel any better. Right.
So in response to this question, I don't know. In my opinion, I think that just being open, and where we were at that time was there was no expectation. There was no exclusivity, I should say. There was no like, hey, like it was just open. It was like,
right.
There's no expectation of I don't even know how commitment, I would say. And it's not that you're being an asshole. It's just like, we're not an item.
Yeah. Or like you said, there's no commitment yet.
Right.
Like, when do you know that you're committed?
That's something that everyone has to work out on their own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if she's seen, 3 or 4 different guys, maybe guy number 3 feels like, hey, we're freaking committed here. I'm sleeping with you. Like I would expect, here's the expectations, that you wouldn't be sleeping with anyone else.
Right. But she says she hasn't told them. So
that's why I'm saying, like, well, I will say this: when I am sleeping with someone, I will let them know right out the gate, like, hey, if I'm sleeping with you, I want you to know that I'm not sleeping with anyone else, because I don't like sleeping with more than one person.
Right.
Not that I never have, but I'm just saying, I feel like, ooh, I don't know if she should bring it up as a conversation or if she should just do her.
Right. And
what do you think?
I'm with you on that and on both sides. It's because she did mention, she said, look, she goes, I'm not looking for anything right now. And it sounds like she's just having fun. And she does travel a lot. She's modeling too. I mean, crazy as your schedule is. I mean, if she's traveling and doesn't have time and she wants what she wants right now, then girl, get your cookies, girl. Get your
I'm
cake
right there
and eat
with
it too.
you. I don't think that you need to really explain yourself to anyone. You're not in anything committed. So I feel like you should do you and have fun. And if it comes up, then I say always be honest.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Yeah.
Well, I think just the management of expectations is the most important thing. It's like, maybe you don't have a conversation that says, hey, we're sleeping with other people or whatever the case may be, but be like we were in the first place was there's no expectation. Okay.
Yeah.
There's
that's good.
There's no, and at some point, I don't even know exactly when that line was crossed. But like understanding that if you do build an expectation, you should be open with that too.
Right. Agreed.
Right. Well, he said that, well, I do have an expectation now.
Okay, but that's where that commitment now comes into play.
So that's where if that person presents it to her, she has to have an honest conversation.
Right. And if she wants to finally narrow it down to him, or maybe not, that conversation still has to happen.
Absolutely. And then at that point, it's their decision whether they want to continue or not continue.
Agreed. Yeah,
So.
I like that. All right, what's her name? Selfish?
Signed selfish.
Okay, girl.
You are not selfish.
I think, like I said, just keep doing what you're doing and you'll know when you're ready. But right now, if you're in fun time, stay in fun time. I think everybody should have a fun time, and it sounds like she's in fun time.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
All right, Joe, is there anything you'd like to talk about, plug, before we get off the show?
Right now, the biggest thing for me is my sister and taking care of her. So that's kind of cut into my training program a lot. So I've canceled like all of my private classes and like the normal civilian classes that I do. So I have a couple of training situations I've got going on. But I'm shifting a lot of focus over to online training. So I'm actually adding on to, I already have a dry fire program, which is basically how to train with your firearms without having to go to the range. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. On your own schedule, and so I offer that, but I'm also going to be working on several other versions of that. So this one's specific for multi-gun. It's kind of competition based, but it's going to be applicable if you're running a rifle or pistol, and it's performance and competition based. However, I'm going to be releasing some more of those for new gun owners, for people who want to get into competition, people who just want to have guns for protection. So you can check that stuff out as they come out on my website, farewellfirearms.com, and you can sign up for emails on there if you want to get notified when I drop new classes or those new programs.
Great.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
like for all the new firearm owners. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm going to pass that.
I'm excited.
So
I'm happy. That's great. All right, Jamie, that's another episode.
I know. Good times. Thank you so much for playing with us today.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's it's a little nerve-wracking jumping up in here, but it's definitely a good time. This is a podcast format that I've never done before. I've done a lot of different podcasts, but they've always been industry related. And so jumping into a dating intelligence podcast is it is out of my comfort zone. Let me throw it out there.
Amazing. You did so well. And you hear that, audience? Like a guy who just said he's had a great time on this show today. We're going to get more guys on the show.
Most definitely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love having my girls, but like the bro code, I was like, yes, a guy on today. That's amazing.
Here we go. Where are my ladies?
I'll stop right there. All right, guys, that's another episode. And Jamie, you want to say anything before we go?
No, just want to say, well, yeah, I do. Like, oh my look at this Microtech. I mean, it's really cool.
It's adorable.
So, it's not adorable. It's badass.
It is badass adorable.
Okay.
Just
whatever.
like you.
That's really cool. So, yeah, check them out, Microtech. And then my Instagram, Jamie_Villamore.
All right, guys, you can find me at Christopher at dating-intelligence.com. And all my social media tagline is dating intelligence. And I guess another episode under the belt. And we'll see you soon, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.